Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and a privilege to have you guys joining me here today. And for me, guys, I'm not going to lie, it's an exciting day. It's Han Solo Day. That's right, it's Star Wars Solo Day for me. Tonight is the premiere of Star Wars Solo. Ann and I are going to be going down to the premiere. This is a real week. We've gone to two premieres this week. We went to the Margot Robbie premiere of Terminal couple nights ago, and we're going to go to the Solo premiere tonight. Hoping I like Solo more than I like Terminal, fingers crossed. But yeah, for me, it's been an interesting journey for me with Solo, because I, like many of you, was like one of those guys where it's like, I did not ask for a Solo movie. I was hoping for something else. A lot of people not so sure about how they felt about a Harrison Ford less Han Solo being played by anybody other than Harrison Ford. A lot of people weren't into that. I mean, I was looking forward to it because it's a Star Wars film. But then the second trailer came out. I'm like, okay, now I'm getting excited. And today's here. You know, I was just talking to Ann before she left work. It's like, I am legit excited for tonight. I'm really excited for tonight now. So I'm going to do what I've done for a number of these premieres, guys. I'm going to be, keep an eye on my social media, including my YouTube channel, because I'm going to be doing some live video. Because you remember at the Avengers Infinity War premiere, I live streamed walking down the carpet, showing you guys all that stuff. So we're probably going to be doing posting some pictures, doing some live streaming video if we can. It's all going to be so much fun. So I'm really excited about that. But listen here, we're here today for Open Mic. Here's how Open Mic is. You know, on the John Campea Show every day, which is our main show at 2 p.m., we save a little bit of time for some live questions, but I love taking live questions. You guys love sending in live questions and comments. So on Open Mic, that's all we do, an hour of live questions. They're close to around, might be around 45 minutes today. I got a lot of stuff I got to get through today. So might cut a little bit short. But with all that out of the way, let's dive into the live questions. And our first live question today comes to us from John Durig, who writes, have a lot of digital movies. Wi-Fi is awful, so I can't watch them on apps. Is there any memory stick or hard drive I can put them on so I can watch on a TV? I have iTunes and movies anywhere. Well, look, there are a couple of options. First of all, Wi-Fi is awesome. Wi-Fi is great. And if you've got it set up properly, you should have no problem. Now, there's two separate issues here. And I don't often get to put on the tech hat, but there's two separate issues here. Do you have your movies on iTunes downloaded and you're just streaming them through your Wi-Fi to separate devices? If that's the case, then it's all about your Wi-Fi and not about your internet speed. Because if your movie's already downloaded somewhere, like on iTunes, if you already downloaded your movie on iTunes and you've got it sitting on a computer somewhere in your house, then internet speed has nothing to do with it. It's just your Wi-Fi. And any wireless modem that you've got in the last 5, 6, 7 years should be plenty fast, like more than fast enough to stream data on a network. Because you're not using the internet at that point, you're just using your Wi-Fi signal, and your Wi-Fi signal should be plenty fast enough to stream your movies for you. Now, the other scenario you might be in that you might be talking about is not your Wi-Fi, but actually your internet speed. So if you're just straight up streaming your movies, then that may not be an issue with your Wi-Fi. That may be an issue with your internet speed, your home internet speed. I would say this, go to a little website called speedtest.net. So it's all one word, speedtest.net, and run a speed test, and it'll show you how much download speed you've been getting. If you get anything over 10 megabytes a second, you should be able to stream your movies pretty good. I mean, ideally you'll want 30, 40, 50. My neighborhood, we got a new deal. I've got a 400 megabyte download, so it's great. But, and see if that's where your bottleneck is. So don't blame your Wi-Fi. Check your internet speed, see what happens there. As far as hard drives, like with iTunes, you should be allowed to download the movies. And what you can do is you can download those movies and then you can get some kind of home media server. Just look online for personal media server. And there's lots of apps. There's like Plex is an old standard that works good, and it's a free app as well. So you put these apps on your computer that you've downloaded your movies to, And then that sets up a media server that you can stream those movies you've downloaded to any device in your house that's on the same Wi-Fi network. And then it should work out. Look, the best thing to do is take some of what I've just said, look up some tutorials on that on YouTube. It's really quite simple. You should be up and running, no problem. But again, first step I would suggest is finding out, is your issue Wi-Fi? Like, do you have like a 10-year-old modem or something like that? Or a 10-year-old router, I should say? Or is it your internet speed? And then go on from there. So that's the best advice I can give on that. Santez Henderson writes, "Hey John, love all you do." Thank you so much, Santez. My question is, why does The Last Jedi novel insist that Rey wants to save Kylo, but the movie insists she doesn't and closes the door on the idea of saving him? Well, here's the thing. I don't read the novels anymore. Continuity is no longer, novels aren't canon. But John, they said it is canon. Yeah, no. They said it's canon until there's differences, then it's not canon. Well, if it's canon, it's canon. There should be no ifs, ands, or buts. So honestly, I pay no attention to the novelizations whatsoever, because there's just too many contradictions. There's too many contradictions. And once you have a contradiction, then it no longer can be considered canon. Anyway, to me, the movie made it pretty clear. They wanted to make it very clear to the audience, Kylo is not getting redeemed. They did that with Luke saying, like, I am not here to save your son. It did it with Leia going, I know my son is gone. And they did it with Rey, making it pretty clear that, yep, Kylo's just gone bad. Then the movie makes it clear Kylo's just gone bad. So if there's any contradiction between the novels and the movies, ignore the novels. Just ignore the novels. Wherever there's even the slightest bit of contradiction, just ignore the novels. Okay, let's move on here. Josh Crichton writes, I watched Kodachrome, on Netflix. Elizabeth Olsen, Ed Harris, Jason Sudeikis. I really enjoyed it. It has emotional moments and scores are great. It is one of the better Netflix movies. It really is. It's a road trip movie. Jason Sudeikis, I honestly don't know why he's not a big A-list star right now. I really don't. I love him in just about everything that he's in. Even in movies that I don't think are any good, I love him in them. And whenever I talk about Jason Sudeikis, I've got to talk about this one little movie he did about 5 years ago. It's a comedy that I thought was great, but nobody watched it and nobody pays attention to it. And it's a little movie, maybe it's because of the title, but the name of the movie is called A Good Old-Fashioned Orgy. And it's got a great cast. Like, if you go look it up, but Jason Sudeikis is the lead guy in it, and I just love him in that stuff. But yeah, you're right. Kodachrome, the connection between Ed Harris and Jason Sudeikis was really nice. Elizabeth Olsen, at first, when I saw the trailer, I thought, they're just putting her in to put a name in. But no, she's great. It fits well. Again, it's got that emotional road trip kind of movie feel to it. If you get a chance to check it out, you totally should. Thanks for bringing that up, Josh. Appreciate that. Alexander Helmer writes, thoughts on Predator trailer? I'm skeptical. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you. Let me say this about the Predator. For those of you who don't know, a new Predator trailer dropped this morning. They're calling it a teaser trailer. It's like 1 minute and 30 long. I'll say this, there's nothing wrong with it. Like this, that's what I'll say about the Predator trailer. There's nothing wrong with it. But, there's also nothing there, other than seeing Boyd Holbrook, who I really like watching him. There's also nothing about it that's jumping out at me and grabbing me by the throat with the Predator claws and saying, watch this movie. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with it. But nothing particularly making me go, ooh, I got to see that. So it's fine. Yeah, that's where I'll go. The Predator trailer is fine. I'll keep my eyes open for whatever they do next, and I'll keep my hopes up. But yeah, nothing special about it. But again, nothing wrong with it. Like, there was nothing in the trailer that made me go, oh, did they just do that? Oh, that's cringy. Like, nothing like that in it. It was perfectly fine. Just didn't do anything to increase my excitement for the movie. You know what I'm saying? All right. Ben Rayner writes, hey, John, don't know if you watch Goldberg's, but they dude-themed episodes sometimes. And last night they did a Spaceball-themed episode, and Rick Moranis actually guest starred as Dark Helmet. Funny, I heard about that. First of all, I don't watch the Goldbergs, but about 4 months ago, I think I had a couple hours to myself one weekend, and I watched about 3 or 4 episodes of Goldberg starting from season 1, episode 1, and it was pretty funny. I always thought the show looked stupid, but it's pretty funny, and I liked it. I never really got back on board with it, but I heard about that. And first of all, it just intrigued me because people saying, John, Rick Moranis is going to be doing something. I'm like, wait a minute, time out. Rick Moranis is doing anything? Because he's kind of stayed away from everything. I mean, he's had some tragedy in his life, but he's been kind of staying away from things. But I said, wait a minute. The great Canadian, good Canadian kid, Rick Moranis, is doing something. Oh my God. And look, even just mentioning Spaceballs just puts a smile on my face. Spaceballs, greatest spoof movie ever, I think. So I got to watch that. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to watch that episode for sure. Santez Henderson writes, also just finished Black Lightning on Netflix, and oh my God, that was a great finale. Very emotional and in certain points. Look, there's this funny thing with me with CW, these CW hero shows. I can't think of a single CW hero show that I thought looked good before starting watching it. And with other than Supergirl, I've pretty much liked them all once I started watching them. I just loved Arrow. Stopped loving it around season 3, but I loved Arrow. Loved Flash when it started. And again, with Black Lightning, I didn't think it looked all that great. And then I watched it, I'm like, damn, I'm into this. And you're right, it was a great first season. The first season finale was wonderful. Wrapping up storylines while leaving open threads to move into season 2. They did a great job with it. I was really impressed with it for sure. I'm glad you enjoyed it too, Santez. All right. Matthew Jund writes, have you seen Small... I don't know why. I've had like 5 times I've been asked in the last couple of months, have I seen Small Soldiers? I don't know where... Has there been some kind of big Small Soldier reconnaissance? You know, like the Renaissance? Like the reconnaissance? Is there a Small Soldier sans or whatever you want? Like, was there some big TV, 24 hours, all small soldiers, nothing but small soldiers? Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, it's just weird that this relatively obscure movie is like suddenly getting like all these people asking about it. Anyway, let me finish reading your question, Matthew. Have you seen Small Soldiers? Watched it for the first time in 15 years last night. Held up much better than expected. Like Toy Story meets Gremlins. Yeah, I like Small Soldiers. Like it's, again, like I said before, it's not one that is one of my cherished memories of movies. It's not one that I like, oh my God, this is one I'll carry with me forever. Like nothing like that. It was a nice little movie. I enjoyed it, but it's not like it's one I watch every year or anything like that. But yeah, it was a nice little movie. I like your analogy though. That is one I think I've heard people do. Toy Story meets Gremlins. That's a really good way to articulate it. Like if you're trying to explain this movie to somebody who has never heard of it, that, Matthew, is a very good way to describe it. Toy Story meets Gremlins. That's a good way to put it. Let's see. Santez writes, what's the best way to compress an audio file? Starting a podcast for entertainment, but I can't upload my files to YouTube unless it's less than 50 megabytes. Well, I mean, it all depends on how long is your podcast. If your podcast is a half hour long, you should have no problem getting it to 50 megabytes or less. And there's lots of different online tools. Like, I'm going to assume you're probably using Audacity. Audacity is a great free audio program that you can use to record stuff. So I'm going to assume you're using that. There's compression settings and things like that. Sometimes I'll even just use Adobe Premiere. That's a video program, I know, but sometimes I'll just use it to compress out my my audio files. There are a lot of audio compression things. The best thing to do, don't export it as a WAV file. Those are going to be bigger. Export it as MP3. There's lots of compression tools for MP3. But here's the thing. If you're doing your podcast, it's like 3 hours long, you're going to run into trouble. The more you try to compress it, try to get it to like 50 megs or less, because you're really going to start to lose quality a lot. So if your podcasts are around a half hour, you should have no problem. Almost any MP3 conversion tool should allow you to do it with very, very little problem. So I would suggest if you're using Audacity, check your settings in Audacity when you're doing your export, okay? And get it as small as possible when you're exporting it without losing too much. Like, don't drop down to 8-bit or anything like that. But and then if there's still a problem, tons of free MP3 conversion tools, tons of MP3 compression tools that should be able to do the trick for you. So there's just a lot of different options out there. So like myself, I just use, when I'm doing an audio-only podcast, I just use Adobe Audition. And when I export out of there as an MP3, I just set the parameters I want. It's always relatively small and it works great. But if you don't have Adobe Audition, Audacity is a really great option. And then there's some other tools out there as well. Just do a quick Google search. You should have an okay time. But again, as long as your podcast isn't too long, you should have no problem with that 50 megabyte file idea. Josh Crichton writes, do you remember I told you that you inspired me to write a sci-fi novel? I believe I do remember that, yes. It's happening. Got one of my friends to help me. John Campea fans, I've made a call to put him in there as a cameo in your novel. Well, when you get it done, and believe me, it may take you a while. When I wrote my novel, it took me like 5 years. Now, I was very busy, but writing a novel, man, it's so much harder than I thought. So much harder than I thought. And I have so much respect for people who do it. So, yeah, man, fire away. And once you got a draft finished, let me fire it off and let me take a look at it. Let's see. Josh follows up. It's going to be the best cameo ever, folks. Well, I look forward to my cameo. Shooting for a 2020 release. More info to come. Well, best of luck on that, man. You know, the great things about if you want to write a novel today is that there are so many options today. Unlike like 10 or 15 years ago, you don't need a publisher. You can just hop on Amazon and publish your book yourself through Amazon. I mean, there's so many, whether it's Lulu or other different services that help you self-publish your books now. It's great options that if you want to do it, you can do it. Nothing's stopping you now. Let's see. Jabin Carter writes, did you know Felipe, the sentient dancing microphone, has an IMDb page? It's slated to come out in 2020. Don't laugh. Yeah, I did. I saw that. Somebody pointed that out to me. Once again, which is a great illustration about why IMDb is very reliable when talking about movies that have already come out. It's locked. It's very reliable. IMDb is not a reliable place to get information before a movie comes out. Pardon me. So, because I remember for a short time, Hayden Christensen was listed on the IMDb page of The Last Jedi. Like, this was long before The Last Jedi came out. And people write to me, see, John, proof that Hayden Christensen's in The Last Jedi. I'm like, don't listen to IMDb prior to the movie coming out because people can go in and edit and do all that kind of stuff and they don't remember. So the very fact that there is an IMDb page for Felipe the Sentient Dancing Microphone movie is just a great piece of proof because I didn't put that up there. It's just another great piece of proof that you should never pay attention to IMDb, particularly prior to a movie coming out. Once a movie comes out and all the information is locked, it's pretty reliable. But other than that, you should probably not pay attention to it. Adamus95 writes, finished watching a movie called Frequency. Oh, yeah, with Dennis Quaid, right? Finished watching a movie called Frequency with Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid. Highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen. Have a good day, John. Yeah, they actually then went on and made a TV show. You're right. Frequency looked like, on its surface, kind of like a cheap little bad sci-fi movie idea, but it's really tender. Like it's a more emotional. There's more emotional depth to that movie than when you thought. Dennis Quaid's always good at bringing that, and then I guess there was enough people who kind of liked it when they saw it that they thought, hey, let's make a TV show, and they made a TV show about it, and it might still be on the air. I don't know if it's still on the air, but they made a TV show on it too, just recently at any rate. So yeah, it is a really nice little movie. If you guys haven't seen it, I and Adamus both would recommend you check it out because it is a really nice little movie. Let's see here. Alexander Helmer writes, I actually like Predators. I love the concept cast. I don't know what you're talking about. What I mean is, I don't know if you're talking about the new trailer. Were you talking about the movie? Predators? Because the last movie, Predators, why am I forgetting the Academy Award winner who starred in the film? Adrian Brody. I like that movie. I thought it wasn't a great movie. A movie I think I saw twice and that's it, but it was an all right movie. I like the one. But if you're talking about today's trailer, again, there was nothing wrong with it. Just nothing great about it either to me. But I don't know. I'm going to withhold judgment until they put out the first full trailer, and we'll see where we go from there. All right. Next one comes to us from Lord of Thunder. Prince of Stars writes, where is the Infinity War spoiler talk part 5? It's coming. I really don't know what to say other than I just haven't had time to do it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I have just not had time to do it. It is coming. As a matter of fact, here, I will pull this up right now. I've got my document. Here it is. This is the document right here with all the questions still waiting to be asked from our Infinity War stuff. Look how many questions there are. Yes, that's Nintendo music. I mean, it's crazy. How many questions are still? There's hours worth left, and I just have not had time. Weekend got packed. Monday night, like all day I'm working on our regular shows. Monday night I was out. Tuesday night I was out. Last night I had Erin Cumming, the actress Erin Cummings, coming over. I cannot wait to share that interview with you guys. So there was that. Tonight I got Solo: A Star Wars Story. I think tomorrow I'm going to have a chance to record the next part of the Avengers Infinity War to finish off the Infinity War spoiler discussion. So either it'll be like a 2-hour part 5 or a 1-hour part 5 and a 1-hour part 6. And then what I think I'm going to do, I think on Sunday, I haven't totally decided. You guys let me know if you're interested in this. I think on Sunday what I'd like to do, because I got so many people writing me emails wanting to talk about Avengers 4 theories, but I cannot use those on the John Campea show because all those questions suggest spoilers from Avengers Infinity War, and still not everybody has seen it, so I can't use them. But I'm thinking about Sunday, maybe doing like an hour-long live stream of just taking everybody's Avengers 4 theories. So I don't know if that's something that would interest you guys or not, but I'm thinking about doing. Maybe I'll put up a poll. I'll put up a poll and ask you guys, would you be interested Sunday evening doing an Avengers 4 theories live video? And we can all talk about our Avengers 4 theories. Let me know if you guys are interested in that, and maybe we'll do that. But yeah, I mean, part of the reality here is I'm working like 12, 14 hours a day. I just simply run out of time to do stuff, and I just have not had time to get around to part 5 of the Infinity War thing, but I believe tomorrow I'll have a chance to record it, which means I'll probably put it up Saturday morning. So that's probably when you'll see part 5 is Saturday morning is when I'll get it up there. But thanks for asking about it. All right. Romy J. Royster writes, I love that name. Will Supergirl be just as good as Black Lightning? Do you mean Supergirl that's already been on TV for 3 or 4 seasons? Is that like, or are we talking about a different Supergirl? Because Supergirl sucks. I mean, that show's terrible. That show can burn in hell. For the way they treated Superman. I mean, yeah, that show can totally burn in hell for me. So, will Supergirl be just as good as Black Lightning? I mean, the show that's already been on the air for 3 or 4 years? Or are you talking about something different? Are you talking about is there some kind of other Supergirl incarnation we're talking? Because you're talking about it as if there's an upcoming Supergirl. So I'm not really quite sure where it is you're going with that, Romy. Maybe next time just be a little more clear, and then maybe I can give you a half-decent answer. Because I know my answer sucked. Lee Cameron writes, just watch Primal Fear for the first time. Stunt. Amazing movie. Primal Fear is like punch you in the face. One of the best endings ever. I love the ending of that movie. The cast is so solid. Ed Norton. Hold a second. I want to just get all the... wait a second. Is this the right one I'm thinking of? Oh, yeah, it is the same one. Yeah. So Ed Norton is just freaking like, wow. If you like, Primal Fear is a great... You want to see a movie? You want to know just how good of an actor Ed Norton is? 2 movies to check out. Primal Fear and American History X. Watch those. If you want to know just how good Edward Norton is, it's crazy. Richard Gere, Laura Linney, John Mahoney, Alfre Woodard, Frances McDormand. Oh my God, Terry Quinn, Joe Soprano. I mean, the cast in this thing was great, but the ending was like one of the great endings. And if you haven't had a chance to see Primal Fear yet, listen up to our good friend Lee Cameron and check it out, because it's a like what's happening next sort of. I really enjoy that movie. Like absolutely, I really love that movie. Kevin Brown writes, Predator trailer, meh. Another example of franchise with continuity issues. I just can't get excited or hyped for a franchise like Predator and X-Men. Well, I think there's lots to get excited about X-Men. I mean, X-Men Days of Future Past one of the best comic book movies ever made. Easily in my top 10 best comic book movies ever made. X-Men 2 for a long time to me, not anymore, but for a long time, X-Men 2 was the best comic book movie ever made. I just love X-Men 2, whether you're talking about Logan. How can you not get excited for Logan? Yeah, so there's lots. And Predator, it's not about the continuity. Fox, continuity, schmontinuity, who cares? The only issue are the individual movies good? That's really all that matters. So I am middle of the road just because I thought the trailer was middle of the road. Nothing wrong with it, nothing particularly great about it either. So that's why I'm with you on the meh, but it has nothing to do with, wait a minute, this isn't in continuity with the other movies. Who cares? It doesn't matter. They've never cared about continuity. Sorry about that, guys. They've never cared about continuity. It's never been an important thing to them. And I don't know why they should start caring about it. And when you're talking about a concept like, this isn't Game of Thrones. When you're talking about, Predator, I mean, is it all that important that continuity is like all that solid or whatever? I personally don't think so. So, but hey, that's a great example. Like, all film subjective, man. If continuity is something that is just one of those things in your head that, hey, if continuity's solid, it helps me enjoy the movie more. When the continuity is shaky and weak, it detracts from a movie for me. And if that's the case with you, then yeah, Predator's going to bother somebody like you. I happen to be one of those types of guys where the continuity, particularly if they've never cared about continuity before, then the continuity doesn't bother me. Like, if Predator had always been very, very big on continuity from movie to movie, and then all of a sudden it was bad with continuity, that would bother me. But the Predator movies have never been about continuity, really, to me. So I just take each individual movie as it comes and just judges it on its own merits, and we go from there. But I'm with you. My feeling right now is kind of meh, just because, again, the trailer, nothing bad about it, nothing wrong with the trailer, but nothing particularly great about it either. So we'll just have to wait and see. All right. Rami J. Royster writes, do you think they should reboot the Alien vs. Predator franchise? No. If I was a studio exec, which everybody should thank God that I'm not. If I were a studio exec, there's no way I would greenlight that. Because Alien vs. Predator has become a punchline to a joke. Everybody will just assume, if you hear Alien vs. Predator is coming, everybody will just assume it's going to suck. Whether that's fair or not, everybody's just going to assume it'll suck. Because that's what Alien vs. Predator movies do. They suck. So, no. Number one, Alien movies' interest has declined. Like the last Alien movie that came out that Ridley Scott directed, I actually thought was pretty good, and it didn't do great at the box office, so there's that. Let's see if this one, and the fact that you've had a couple of Alien vs. Predator movies and people didn't like them. So, no, there's no business sense to trying to reboot that franchise because it's a crippled brand. The idea of Alien vs. Predator is a crippled brand. Like, you're just starting too far deep in the hole with it just because people won't have any faith in it. Let's see. Alan D'Souza writes, YouTube channels with millions of subscribers are using Infinity War analysis videos as an excuse to upload scenes from bootleg sources. Example, Emergency Awesome. Well, I'll be honest with you, Alan. I don't like to talk about other YouTube channels because I'm here to talk about the things we love. I'm not here to talk about other YouTube channels. I will say this. I'll talk about trends, though. Nobody should upload bootleg footage. Nobody should upload bootleg footage. There you go. So I'll just kind of leave my stuff there at that. So I see where you're coming from, but I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to talk about other YouTube channels. That's not what I'm here for. There are other YouTube channels that like to spend their time talking about other YouTube channels because those who can talk about movies, those who can't talk about other YouTube channels that don't do things the way they do them. So there they are. I would rather be the kind that talks about movies. I'm not going to spend my time talking about other YouTube channels. But I will say, yeah, nobody should be uploading like bootleg footage. Yeah, so I'll just say that. And I'm not, by the way, let me be very clear. I'm not aware of this. So just to be clear here, whatever video you're talking about from Emergency Awesome, I have not seen that video. So I'm giving no commentary on it whatsoever. I am not aware of what it is you're talking about. I have not seen what it is you're talking about. I'm just going to simply say, in general, yeah, people shouldn't upload bootleg footage. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see. Alex Pitt writes, "Hey, John, looking forward to Movie Club on Sunday." Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I still have not picked which movie we're going to do. I might bump it to next Sunday. Because I still haven't picked which movie to do, but I will keep you guys updated on that. Rami J. Roycer writes, "I've heard rumors about the theaters creating rooms for audiences to use their smartphones during a movie. Will that come to fruition?" There were rumblings about that. It's stupid. But teenagers really like to use their phones. So teenagers want to act like a bunch of little assholes. We should just encourage them. By the way, it's not just teenagers, there are adult assholes too who do this. We should just encourage bad behavior by giving them a separate room, like a smoking room. But no, there was an idea about creating an isolated room where people who want to be able to use their phones during a movie can sit. I'm like, you know what? Unless your name is Mr. President, or unless your name ends with the title letters MD, like doctor, you can be without your phone for 2 hours. Guess what? The world will keep spinning if you're disconnected for 2 hours. All right? You'll be fine. Keep your phone put away. I got bad news for you. You're not that important. You're not. Like, oh my God, aliens have invaded the earth and they demand that I be the emissary, and unless I'm there in 30 minutes, they'll destroy the world. I've got to have my phone on me. You're not that important. Unless your name ends with Mr. Prime Minister, Madam President, or Dr. So-and-so, you're not that important. And look, if you are expecting that maybe something important, do what I do. There have been times that I've gone to a movie that I know any moment now, like either today or tomorrow, I could be getting a very, very important message. Fine. If I feel my thing buzz and I think it might be that, I just get up and I walk out of the theater. Then I pull my phone out and I check it. So, no, I don't believe we should accommodate idiotic behavior. I just don't think we should. And the amount of expense that would go into having to construct these rooms in theaters, I just don't see a payoff for it. So let's not enable idiotic behavior. I've got to have my phone on me 24 hours a day. You're not that important. I hate to break it to you. You're not. It's an interest, but it has come up, Rami, right? So could it actually come to fruition? I don't think, number one, I don't think it should. Number two, I don't think it will because the sheer cost involved. It's definitely something the movie industry needs to talk about, but I definitely don't think it's something they should do. I definitely don't. All right, let's move on here. Edmund Zippo writes, "I have money again. I have some. I started watching Parks and Rec. It's incredible. I'm binging it like a madman." Look, I was late to the Parks and Rec party. I started watching Parks and Rec, I believe when it was already going into season 4 or something like that. And then, because I thought it looked like a cheap Office ripoff. And it was on the same network. Parks and Rec to me just looked like a cheap Office ripoff. It is one of the greatest comedies of all time. And once you really start getting it and you start getting to know the characters, it gets funnier and funnier and funnier. And it broke, Ann and I would watch it all the time, and it just broke our hearts when that show ended. You know, in the modern trend of reviving old shows, oh my God, please revive Parks and Rec. I know it's going to be tough because Chris Pratt's career has completely taken off. He probably wouldn't come back to do it. But if you could, oh my God, revive that series, because that series is just so damn good. I'm glad you're able to get caught up on it, Edmund. All right, Kyle B. writes, DP marketing is almost as entertaining as, Deadpool. The Deadpool marketing is almost as entertaining as the films. Do you see the new skit with David Beckham? Also, putting Thanos in Fortnite is genius. Yeah, putting Thanos in Fortnite is genius. That was a good move. As far as, no, I haven't seen the new David Beckham thing. But, yesterday on the John Campea show, we talked about the new letter. Because, remember how there was that Thanos demands your silence letter from the Russo brothers? Well, Ryan Reynolds put out a Deadpool demands your silence letter, and it was hilarious. The funniest thing to me about the letter, do I still have the graphic? I don't think I still have the graphic. No, I don't, which is too bad. But There was this, on the letter, there's 20th Century Fox letterhead in the top, and Ryan Reynolds crossed it out and put "to be determined," which I thought was fantastic. So yeah, I mean, you're right. The marketing for it has just been fantastic. Edmund Zippo writes, also, my current jam is the Black Panther score. It's fantastic, especially Ancestral Plane. Beautiful chords that made us feel T'Challa's pain. You know what? Here's the thing. It's Kendrick Lamar. A lot of people think Kendrick Lamar did the score for the movie. Kendrick Lamar did not do the score for Black Panther. Kendrick Lamar did some of the song and most of the songs on the soundtrack. But some of the best things about the music in Black Panther was the score. The score is amazing to Black Panther, and it totally gets overlooked or gets lost in the hype of Kendrick Lamar did the soundtrack. Well, yeah, he did a lot of the songs, but the score in Black Panther is also brilliant. And to not make it look like I'm trashing on Kendrick Lamar or the songs, I play Pray For Me, the main song that's playing when they walk into the casino. Boom, bada boom. I am obsessed with that song. I play it almost every time I get in the shower. I don't know why. That song just gets me hyped up. But the bad thing about that is that the greatness of the soundtrack itself gets overlooked. Because you're right, man. The soundtrack, the score, I should say, the musical score, the orchestral score of it is fantastic. I absolutely love it. Let's see here. Ben Robinson writes, best TV antihero, Jax, Walter, Dexter, or Tony? That's a good one. Man, I'll go Dexter. Look, Tony Soprano, Jax Teller, Walter White, all great kind of atypical anti-hero kind of things. But the serial killer without a heart, there's just the whole notion of Dexter is crazy because you could have done a show. For those of you who don't know, Dexter is about a kid, this guy, Dexter, who was just born a serial killer. I mean, he was just born that way. And there's this cop, and he has no empathy, which is, the standard trait of a sociopath. He has no empathy, whatsoever. He has no heart. And this police officer who plays Gamby in Black Lightning now, by the way. It's the same actor, played his dad. His dad's name was Harry. Played his adopted father. This cop adopts this kid who he recognizes in him. Oh my God, I'm a cop. I've seen this before. This kid's going to be a serial killer. And instills in this kid a code. And it's called Harry's Code. And the whole code is, okay, you want to be a serial killer? Fine. I'm going to teach you how to be a serial killer, but you are only going to kill people that deserve it. And I'm going to teach you how to do it and how you can never get caught. And part of never getting caught is make sure you never kill somebody who doesn't deserve it. You never kill innocent people. That's part of not getting caught. So it would have been easy for a show like Dexter to have, the character has this compulsion to be a serial killer, but he's got a great heart, so he really doesn't want to kill nice. No. It's not even that. He has no empathy whatsoever. He doesn't care about you. But he had this code instilled in him that this code keeps me safe. This code makes sure I'm always able to do what I love doing, which is murder. I get to do it, but the code makes sure I murder the right people, and it makes sure, the whole notion of it is crazy. If you've never seen Dexter, you should absolutely check it out. It's bonkers good. The series finale was a little bit of a letdown, but whatever. Overall, the series is just bonkers good. So I'll go with Dexter as the best anti-hero. The Man with the Plan writes, hey John, in your opinion, what movie did you enjoy more regarding beloved characters coming together for the first time? The first or third Avengers? First Avengers. I still think the first Avengers movie is the best MCU movie. And there was just so much more they could do in that one. They were a little bit more limited in what they could do by design. By design, they were more limited because of the circumstances surrounding it. But yeah, to me, it was the first one. The first one to me is still the best MCU movie. I love Infinity War, but it's not in my top 3 best MCU movies. It's great. I really enjoy it. I've seen it numbers of times already, but it's not in my top 3. The first Avengers movie is still my best MCU movie ever. Let's see. Excel Darlek writes, hey, John, love the show. Thank you so much, Excel. Finally, someone else who understands how awesome and underrated John Carter was. Keep up the epic shows. I mean, seriously, John Carter was one of those examples. I remember talking to one of the publicists from Disney about the marketing. And these publicists had nothing to do with the marketing. But I remember talking to them and saying, because after I saw the movie, I'm like, you do realize you guys completely dropped the ball on this marketing campaign, right? Because that movie I just saw, nothing like the marketing campaign. They marketed that movie so badly. And it's a shame because John Carter, first of all, was a bad title. They should have just kept John Carter of Mars. They should have kept that title. Just John Carter? You have no idea what that's about. That movie with Taylor Kitsch, a movie that should have made Taylor Kitsch is already a big movie star, but he would have been an A-list movie. He should have been a big A-list movie star. He's ridiculously talented, who just happened to appear in a lot of crappy stuff. But John Carter was just, I remember coming out of the theater going, I can't remember the last time I was able to just purely enjoy such great sci-fi. It was just such great, pure sci-fi. You know what I'm talking about? If you haven't had a chance to watch John Carter yet, treat yourself, watch it. It's just good, fun sci-fi in its purest kind of form. You should definitely check it out. And it should have been a franchise, and it should have been a series, but they botched the marketing on it so badly that they could never justify doing another one, which is really, really too bad. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Excel. Let's see. Oops, big jump. Give me a second here. Okay. Rob Madison writes, what's up, John? What do you think about Blade 1? I think it was fantastic. Still, do I think it's different from the other two directed very well? I think it was fantastic. Still, do I think it's different from the other two directed very well? Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean by the second half of your email there, Rob, but I like the first Blade. What was the name of the villain again? Deacon Frost. Deacon Frost was a great villain. The mythology they set up with the vampires was really cool. Of course, Wesley Snipes in what has become his identifying role. Now, when people think Wesley Snipes, they think Blade, of course. Now, Blade 2 is my favorite of the Blade films. Like, Blade 2 for me is just like bonkers good. I love Blade 2, and I like it more than Blade 1. But I do like Blade 1 very much. And Blade 1 sets up Blade 2. Let's not talk about Blade Trinity. I still remember my girlfriend at the time dropped me and my buddy off because we were out doing dinner, and me and my buddy say, hey, let's go watch Blade 3. But my girlfriend wasn't into it. She said, yeah, I'll drop you guys off. So she drops us off to go see Blade 3. We going in to see Blade 3. Oh my gosh. And then coming out like, oh my God, that movie's so bad. Despite the fact that Ryan Reynolds' Hannibal Caine was a great character, but you can just tell, oh my God, they are so desperately trying to set up a new movie franchise with this. And what was with Jessica Biel's lightsaber bow and arrow? Like, it was a lightsaber. Just call it a lightsaber. I mean, it was just so bad. But yes, I really do like Blade 1, but Blade 2 is actually my favorite one of the series. All right, we move on now to Rose Ryan, who writes, I'm celebrating my Infinity War high with you. That's awesome. Thanks for the time and effort you put into making your shows and fun and informative. The community thrives. Oh, thank you so much, Rose. I really appreciate that. And, you know, my favorite thing about doing this show, about doing all my shows, is the community we formed. I love reading all the stuff. First of all, my Patreon supporters on our Facebook page. I go in every day. I don't always post stuff myself every day, but I go into our Facebook group every single day. I read all the stuff that people put in there. And I love seeing, in today's environment, where it seems like every movie discussion anywhere gets so toxic and so negative. It's amazing for me to like hop into our Facebook group and see great discussion and debate happening, but all amongst film fans who are there just celebrating each other and that we all have different opinions about movies, and it's good instead of toxic. I love reading through our comments section. We're like 95% of our comment section. Like normally it's 50-50 in a lot of comment sections, from toxic to people trying to have a half decent conversation, and just reading criticism, but constructive criticism, people being positive even when being negative and stuff, and just having good it's what our community here has been able to put together is really a testament, not to me, but to the people in our community like yourself, Rose. And it makes it the most fun part about being a movie fan. Being a movie fan is only fun when you can be a movie fan with other people. And I love that we have a community here that, because you know what's really fun for me? You know, I put up the live stream, the posting for the live stream about an hour before the shows start, right? So open mic starts at 8:30. I post the live stream at about 7:30. And what's great is, even before the show starts, there's a whole bunch of people that just come into the chat board, even though the show hasn't started, and come into the chat board like a half hour before the show starts, and they just talk amongst each other, talking about movies. Hey, what did you guys think of this? And people having discussions and conversations. And it's just an awesome thing to see. Being a film fan is best when you can be a film fan with other film fans. That's when it's most fun. And just an extension to everybody here for being such great film fans and making this community a great place to be and a great place to run. Thank you guys so much, because it's awesome. And thank you for sharing that, Rose, and thank you for your ongoing support. I really appreciate that. All right. About 15 minutes left here. I said I would cut it at 45, but I'm going to keep going. We just got a good vibe going here today. All right. Nicholas Pereira writes, I think we may find the MCU overloaded because more and more franchises building it were destined for Infinity War. But with more personal adventures and smaller crossovers, it won't be the same story. I'm going to read that over again, Nicholas, because I'm not sure I'm following what you're saying. I think we may find the MCU overloaded because more and more franchises building it were destined for Infinity War. But with more personal adventures and smaller crossovers, it won't be the same story. I'm going to be honest with you, Nicholas. I cannot interpret what it is you're writing. I think we may find the MCU overloaded because more and more franchises building it were destined for Infinity War. But with more personal adventures or smaller crossovers, it won't be the same story. Again, I'm not quite sure what it is you're saying, Nicholas. I apologize. First of all, to your point that the MCU is going to become overloaded. That is one of my fears about the MCU. Especially with the possibility that on top of an already overcrowded universe, we may now also be adding X-Men and Fantastic Four to it. I mean, it's already kind of bursting at the seams. You know, one of the biggest problems with Infinity War was that it was overstuffed. There was a little too much going on and too many characters. It still worked out great, but I mean, if you had to point to something that was a negative, that's it. And now you're going to add even more to it. I'm worried about it. I am worried about it a little bit. So we'll just have to see how that all kind of plays out. But if your fear is that, the MCU may get overloaded, I share that fear. I'm not saying that's what will happen, but it is my fear. I totally admit that is also my fear. Maria writes, who will be in the NBA Finals? Oh, it'll be, I thought Toronto and Houston. I thought Toronto would beat Cleveland. But, yeah, I just can't. The way Cleveland's playing right now, I can't see Boston beating them. I mean, I think Boston can push it to 6 games. I can't see Boston beating Cleveland. Not the way Cleveland's playing, and Boston without their best player. But so I think it's going to be Cleveland and Houston. I think it's going to be Cleveland and Houston. And we'll just see. We'll wait and find out. Look, and then whoever comes out of the West, Houston or Golden State, the Western team will win the championship. Cleveland cannot beat Houston, and they cannot beat Golden State. Their teams are just too good. And no matter how good Cleveland has looked, here's the bottom line. The Cleveland Cavaliers suck. That's a terrible team. They just happen to have the greatest player on the planet on their team that makes it look like they might be pretty good. But the reality is that team sucks. That's not a good basketball team. Whereas the Golden State Warriors are an elite basketball team. The Houston Rockets right now are an elite basketball team. You take out Steph Curry, no big deal. That team can still go to the finals. You take out Harden off the Houston Rockets, maybe that team doesn't go to the finals, but that team still goes deep into the playoffs. You take out LeBron James, that Cleveland Cavalier team does not make the playoffs. Does not even come close to making the playoffs. So I believe Cleveland will get to the finals, but then it's just math. At that point, either Houston is going to kick their ass or Golden State's going to kick their ass because they're just too good and deep and well-rounded of teams. Whereas the Cleveland Cavaliers is LeBron James and 4 other warm bodies on the floor. I mean, that's basically it. And one guy cannot win a title on his own. So anyway, let's see. ZOMG Ruler writes, will Solo beat Avengers May opening weekend record? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No. Because the first Avengers movie, I believe, opened to... Hold on a second. I believe the first Avengers movie opened to... what was it? Like over... I thought it opened over 200 million. Let me just double check here. Yeah, the first Avengers movie had an opening weekend of $207 million. I cannot see Solo doing that. I know the projections for 150, and I still have a hard time believing that. I'm thinking Solo comes in about maybe 110. But no, I just don't see it beating the Avengers opening weekend, the Avengers May weekend record of 207 million. Oh my God. If Solo opened to over 200 million, forget it. That would just be ridiculous. If they had Solo, if Solo opens to over 200 million, that'd be like, again, I can't see it happening. I'm pegging it around 110. But who knows? Maybe I'll go see Solo tonight and it'll be, and I'll just think the movie's amazing. I think everybody's going to love this. And then maybe that'll change my mind. But I'm putting Solo opening to around 110. I cannot buy into these projections of 150, 170, maybe north of that. I understand their first 24-hour ticket sales were double that of Black Panther's first 24-hour ticket sales, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, it's a good sign, for sure it's a good sign, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything huge. I don't know. We'll have to see. I just can't see it breaking. I cannot see it breaking 200 million. Just cannot see that happening, which would be awesome if it did, though. Anthony Ashmask writes, excited to see Solo, but the problem is Star Wars is not at all popular here in India. Rogue One and The Last Jedi are out of theaters in 2 weeks. Really hope that Solo does well here this time. Look, again, how well or not well it does in India, really, at the bottom line, it doesn't matter how well or not well it does in any country. What matters is how well does it do overall. That's what matters. I mean, if it makes $5 in China, but still makes... oh my God, but still makes 900 million worldwide, then that's all that counts, is that it made 900 million worldwide. And again, I can't see it making 900 million worldwide. I'm thinking the best Solo can hope for is about 875 million, which would be insanely great. But again, it doesn't matter what it does in any one individual country. What it really matters is what does it do overall, and we'll have to wait and see. Let's see here. Lawrence Reed writes, is it me or does your theme music sound like Once by Pearl Jam? Well, it's definitely not Once by Pearl Jam. I can't think of, I'm a Pearl Jam fan. I can't think of Once. So I can't really answer that. I have a lot of people say that my opening theme music sounds like 1990s WWE entrance music. And I'm like, that's exactly what I was going for, actually, when people say that. I was going for 1990s WWE entrance music sounding music. That's totally what I was going for. Michael Myers writes, thoughts on movies where villains win? You like? I mean, again, it's not the formula, it's the execution. Movies where hero wins can suck. Movie where heroes win can be awesome. Movies where villain wins can suck. Movies where villain wins can be awesome. Doesn't matter. It's not like, movies where villains win can work and be great. Just like movies with heroes winning can work and be great, but movies with villains winning can suck, and movies with villains losing can suck. I mean, it's all about how good is the individual movie. And does the hero winning or losing, does the villain winning or losing fit best into that particular movie? See, where villains lose or where villains winning doesn't work is when you watch a movie and you realize the villain winning does not fit this movie. And it's not a good fit. So again, it's not about formula, it's about execution. So I'm fine with villains winning. I'm totally fine with villains winning if it fits the movie and the movie is executed well. Then it can work great. And if it's not, then it doesn't work. So it's really kind of give or take. Anthony Ashmask writes, Infinity War is crushing at the box office, already over 1.2 billion, and it's yet to open in China. If it falls short of 2 billion by a hair, will Avengers 4 join the $2 billion club? It's impossible to say. We're still 3 movies away from Avengers 4. We have no idea. It's far too early to guess on that. Now, I've been saying all along, I believe that Avengers Infinity War will cross the $2 billion mark. What it will not do is it will not catch Avatar. It's just not, don't even entertain the idea. It's not going to come within a whiff of Avatar. But I do believe it's going to cross 2 billion. Because I believe it's going to chalk up probably 400 million in China. So that just leaves another 400 million it needs to make worldwide over the next few weeks. I think it'll do it. I think it will. I think it'll catch The Force Awakens. Because how much is The Force Awakens sitting at here? The Force Awakens is at 2.06 billion. The Infinity War will not make as much in North America in the domestic box office as The Force Awakens did. The Force Awakens made over 900 million domestically. Infinity War will not catch that. But worldwide, which is the more important number, worldwide is 2.06 billion. I do believe that Infinity War can catch that. I do. It will not catch Avatar, because Avatar is like another 800 million on top of that. But I do believe it can catch Star Wars The Force Awakens. Let's see here. Murray writes, I saw Infinity War for the 3rd time and with a different friend. I told him to see the Guardians of the Galaxy and Black Panther films first before we went out to see this one. And he was glad he was able to appreciate it much more because of the familiarity with the characters. Yeah, I think again, I don't know which MCU films this friend of yours had already seen and which ones they hadn't seen. Somebody asked me before Infinity War came out, if I only got time, I haven't watched any other MCU movies, and I've only got time to maybe watch 3 of them before going to see Infinity War. So understanding that, which 3 should I watch? I said the original Avengers. These are not necessarily the 3 best MCU movies, but the 3 MCU movies I felt set you up to understand what's going on in Infinity War best. I said the original Avengers, Civil War, because you got to understand the context of where all the heroes are at. And then, to me, it was kind of a toss-up for the 3rd one to be either Black Panther or Guardians of the Galaxy. I went Black Panther because, as you could tell in the trailers, a lot of the movie happens in Wakanda. It's good to understand the Wakandan context. Watch Black Panther. Although, there's a strong argument to be made for Guardians of the Galaxy because that's a number of characters there, as well as the fact that they talk a little bit more about the Infinity Stones in that particular movie, and you get to see a scene with Thanos. So it was a little bit of a coin toss, but I went for my 3rd film. I went for Black Panther. But there's no wrong answer. And I kind of envy you, Murray, because my favorite thing to do with movies, my favorite thing is watching a movie watching a movie I really like with somebody who hasn't seen that movie yet. That's like my favorite thing to do at the movies. Watching a movie I like with somebody who hasn't seen that movie yet. I love that. So I'm really kind of jealous you had that chance to do that with your friend for Avengers. All right. Just like 2 or 3 minutes left here, guys. R. Olson writes, John, do you watch our World Championship hockey? If so, thoughts? You know what? I haven't been able to. First of all, the World Championships, they should not happen while the NHL playoffs are going on. Because the World Championships are only each country making up their teams of players whose NHL teams have already been knocked out of the playoffs. Each country isn't even getting their best players. But I still usually watch it every year, but it's impossible to find it on TV in the States. At least in Los Angeles. So I haven't had a chance to watch it or keep up with it this year. So no, I haven't watched it yet. Normally I like watching every year, but they need to move the championships to after the Stanley Cup finals are done so that players can go and play for their countries. It seems really weird. The timing, I've always thought the timing of it is weird. James Bonner just puts in a super chat. Thank you, James. And the final question today comes to us from John Key, who writes, can you recommend a few great movies to watch? Movies I've liked very much for reference. Moon, Ex Machina, Get Out, Man from Earth, Nightcrawler. Recommend, that's kind of a broad general statement there, John Key. Just recommend good movies to watch? Avengers Infinity War? Okay. Something, I'm going to get the feeling you're talking about movies you want to watch at home. So I won't talk about movies that are currently in theaters, like A Quiet Place or something like that. If you have not watched them, here's a couple I'll throw out there. Watch Highlander. Awesome. The original Highlander with Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery. Watch Highlander because it looks like you've got a little bit of a taste for some sci-fi in there. Go Highlander. I recommend Shawshank Redemption because it is one of the greatest motion pictures of all time. I'm going to assume you've seen Lord of the Rings. I'm going to assume you've seen Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. And then the original Godfather. So there's a couple of movies that if you don't have on your repertoire already, go check those out. Anyway, okay, that's it. We're over an hour. That'll do it for today, guys, for this installment of Open Mic. Hey, listen, for those of you who sent in questions that I didn't have time to get around to, don't worry. I'm going to take those, add those. Now, you might be saying, John, you haven't put up a companion video in a couple of days. The reason I haven't put up a companion video in the last couple of days is because there hasn't really been enough leftover questions to justify a full video. Now I have enough. So if you sent in a question today and I didn't get around to it, don't worry. I'm going to take those questions, add them to the companion video document, and I'm going to do a companion video that will probably be up tomorrow morning. And your question will be in there, as well as any leftover questions from the last couple of days that didn't get addressed. It'll pop up on tomorrow's companion video because now I have enough to do it. All right, guys. Again, today is Han Solo Day for me, so I can't wait to show you what Ann and I are wearing. I'm so excited to show you guys what Ann and I are wearing. Ann always looks awesome, but Ann looks awesome. I cannot wait for you guys to see what she's wearing tonight. Can't wait. I'll do some live stream. But don't forget, guys, today at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, that's Los Angeles time, that'll be 5 p.m. East Coast time or New York time, is the John Campea Show. It's our main show where we go through all the movie news, talking about all the events going on in the world of movies, giving you some context and some commentary and all that, making sure that you guys know more about what's going on in the world of movies than all of your friends do. Make sure you come back and join me for that. Of course, guys, listen, Patreon. Do me a favor, guys, if you enjoy my programming, do me a favor, head on over to www.patreon.com/John Campea. Find out everything, what it means to be a Patreon supporter, how being a Patreon supporter keeps the show on the air, and of course, the benefits of being a Patreon supporter, like audio-only podcasts, behind-the-scenes videos, our Facebook group, all that kind of stuff, and maybe you'll want to become a Patreon supporter too. And guys, listen, seriously, I don't emphasize this enough, but honestly, if you're not following me on Twitter, why not? You should follow me on Twitter. Hop on Twitter. You can see my Twitter address right there. Just follow me at John Campea on Twitter. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today for this installment of Open Mic. Thanks so much for making this another fun one for me, guys. My name's John Campea, and until our next video, bye-bye.